everybody, and welcome to something that's a little different. I'm going to try to do this every now and then, but this is sort of my new little series I'm going to try to keep going, like I said, every now and then, called, it's not, I haven't got a name for it yet, but basically here, I look at the highlights of a certain episode in a certain animated series. So, we're going to kick things off with an episode from Bonkers. Disney's Bonkers. It's an episode that not many have seen, and I'm only going to talk about some of the highlights in the episode. And that episode is none other than New Partners on the Block. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okay, so we start off with the title here, New Partners on the Block. I apologize for no intro or anything. I actually got this episode from a friend back east. This friend, can't think of her name, but I did a special introduction to her when I posted 3 parts of this episode online. And you can thank her for me having this episode. Now, what we have here is not just the intro, but the title of the episode, but we now have an introduction to one of our new characters, Miranda, right there. And basically, this is a brief meeting that they're having for to discuss about the character of Fireball Frank. So, that is one of the highlights here. Not only is this meeting not only are they having this meeting, but the highlight of this meeting is we get introduced to a new character in the series that will potentially, and it's a little bit of a spoiler in case you haven't seen this, be Bonkers' new partner. And you will watch this throughout the entire, if you watch the episode on YouTube or anyplace else, it'll be you'll find out why exactly she becomes his partner. Now, we'll stop here. We stop here for a second, and as we fade from this over to this picture, over to the title again, here's the situation about this episode. Many consider it not just a transitional episode, but many consider it as a sequel to the Going Bonkers pilot, because it's done almost in the same animation style as the pilot. In other words, it's got everything just like the pilot did. Want a good example? Well, here comes highlight number 2. Alright, highlight number 2, as we're about to see, is not just going to involve Bonkers' friend Fall Apart, but it's also going to involve some other friends. Now, the reason for this, as we see, Lucky just kicked a can out of the observatory. Now, in case you're wondering what happened, again, spoiler alerts, Lucky's looking at this new case against this new criminal as his ultimate opportunity to finally be promoted and move out of the Toon Division. Now, what we see here is Fall Apart picking up all the cans that Lucky has tossed out. Then we fade into, basically, it looks like a memorial picnic for Lucky that Bonkers has put on with all his friends. And yes, these are all the friends from the pilot and from Raw Toonish. There's Fawn right there, along with Fall Apart. Here we have Jitters, and here, upcoming, we have Grumbles, who, in my opinion, have more speaking time than they did in the actual pilot, and more screen time. Now you're probably wondering, well, why is this? It's real simple. This is to give fans an idea of what's going to happen after Bonkers when Bonkers gets paired up with Miranda. And this again right here is a good example of them having more screen time, with them looking for more messages on more of the cans. So, to me, this is one of the cool factors about this episode. Now, again, we head into, I'm putting this picture of the title up here. Now, like I said, the reason this is one of the cool factors of this episode is the fact that even though we had seen them before in a flashback in the episode Tune with No Name, excuse me, but this again was the second time officially that they had been seen in a more present day, no flashbacks, no variety packs of, cartoon shorts from the Raw Toonage days, no little cameos like here and there, like they had Fondier do in like one or two episodes, but you actually have them not only talking, but getting involved. In other words, they have more screen time. Like I mentioned, they have more screen time as well as more speaking time, which I think was a plus. But also, by having them in this episode with the writer Larry Lantham, and that's right, I said this, the writer Larry Lantham, who was the writer of the Lucky Piquel episodes, and got brought in because they had dumped Drain Capizzi off, because some of his stories for the rest of the series in its original run didn't come off so well. What Larry Lantham did is he bridged both series together, and by having Bonkers friends in this episode, it gave you an idea of what to expect when he starts teaming up with Miranda. So that takes care of that. Now let's take a look at another highlight. Alright, as we see Miranda and Bonkers officially together as a team. Alright, now, here we are towards the end of the episode. Like I said, if you've not seen the episode, you have to see it because I don't want to give much away. But I will say this is where Bonkers and Miranda officially become a team, because as you can see, the Chief is promoting them up to newer levels. And by doing so, and like I just mentioned, you're about to see him, as he mentions here, make them officially a team, because he still believes Lucky is dead, even though he just talked to Lucky. And here you see him officially assigning him to Sergeant Grading, who again, you do see in here, he's the small guy with the less hair. So that's the new boss. Now this here is actually something that comes full circle, because this is something that what Lucky wanted to do. He wanted to go to that next level, and that's exactly what happens here. Lucky ends up going to that next level, but instead of being promoted in the police division, he's been offered a job in the FBI. And there's a lot of fans that if you go on a site called bonkersonline.com that have done a fanfic where they basically do a continuity to kind of continue the series into the new decade, into the new century, and they have Lucky's, and they continue Lucky's job as an FBI guy, but they have him teamed up with Fall Apart, and the reason is Fall Apart actually went with him to Washington. So now we see here basically Lucky, Miranda, and Bonkers clearing out the office that Bonkers and Lucky had shared for 42 episodes, or at least 41 episodes anyway. So, and here we see Bonkers is basically telling Lucky he could take Toots with him, and then after we see Toots, Lucky give the okay about Toots. We have Roderick, or Broderick, whatever you want to call him, the Toon Radio come in saying he's going to go. And then, of course, we have Fall Apart, who also wants to go, along as well, because he first he wants to go to Washington. First he wants to go to Baltimore, then Guam, and now he wants to go to Washington to see the Eiffel Tower. Okay, so anyway, here we have the Fall Apart, Toots, and Broderick going into the van, which is the last appearance. And this right here, this scene's actually pretty cool, because that's the only time you see those two talking to each other, which is Miranda and Lucky. And now we see for the last time Lucky's family, Marilyn, his daughter, and his wife right there, Delandra. And of course Bonkers is sad at the fact that his partner's leaving. So what does Lucky do? He gives him his old badge, the badge he got when he first joined the Toon Division, when he got promoted to detective. Um, overall, it is a good episode. There's no doubt about it. A great transitional episode. And here you see Lucky finally saying his goodbye, telling Bonkers he'll see him around. And here we have the kind of like Miranda Miranda trying to comfort Bonkers by saying she would. Well, basically, you could hear it for yourself a little bit, but basically, she's telling Bonkers she's going to do her best to fill Lucky's shoes. But of course, Bonkers doesn't understand the meaning of what she's saying, and she has to tell him that she was speaking figuratively. And there he is. There's Bonkers and Miranda's new boss, Sergeant Grading, who I guess kind of fills out the role of Lucky Perkel. So overall, this episode definitely was a good episode. Again, if you want to see the whole thing, check out certain YouTube channels. They will have it, probably in multiple parts, probably in separate parts, but it is a good special. Definitely check. Good episode. Definitely check it out if you can. And because you will not regret it. If you can, because, well, you will not regret it. I guarantee it. And overall, those are just some of the highlights in the episode as we go back here to the title screen. Or, well, we've already been back to the title screen, I should say. But those are just some of the highlights. I mean, we got introduced to Miranda. We find out that she is going to be Bonkers' new partner, because, well, you'll have to see the episode for yourself. We see the return of his friends full time with more screen time and more speaking and screen time. His friends being Fondier, Jetters, and Grumbles from the Raw Toonage days, and kind of giving you an idea of what to expect when he starts teaming up more with Miranda. As well as we got to see them officially become a team. Now, despite, like I say, what people may say, Larry Lantham did the best job he could. He knew that a lot of fans were going to question why all of a sudden after 40-something episodes we go with Lucky and Bonkers, all of a sudden Bonkers is with somebody else. He knew the smart thing to do was to bridge both seasons, I guess you can call them, or series together, so that it would be more like a transition, more like, okay, we went from Lucky, now we're going to Miranda, and this is how it happened. So overall, not a bad episode. Nothing bad to say about it at all. It's very well done, very well written. It's got great animation. Definitely check it out. And that's all I'm going to say for the first one of these kind of videos I'm going to do, highlight videos. Tell me what you guys think, and I will talk to you all next time. God bless. Thank you for watching. I'm out.